What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the book club. As you guys already know, we are reading The Terminal List by Jack Carr. So already we're in the nitty gritty, the nuts of the bolts. This is where things really start to pick up and start to happen. I mentioned it in my previous videos, but so this video, we're just mixing things up. This is going to be more of just quick little review slash conversation, talking about each chapter as opposed to going over each one like I've been doing. So like I said, this is my first time doing the book club and the book club videos, so they're always going to be changing up, being different, because I'm taking your guys' feedback and we're going from there. But I love our book club. I love everyone's interaction inside of our app. It's fun talking with you guys and seeing like what genres you're really into. And yes, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. So we're in basically the list, part 2. Dun, dun, dun. So in chapter 31, we get to learn more about the Kamar character, who is basically sent to kill Rhys, and he's his religion, he's Muslim, so he's on this mission to basically not only bring like pride to his family, but also he believes in the messaging in the Muslim religion. So he's doing it for Allah, and he's on this mission to kill Rhys, so he gets everything dialed in the sense of what Rhys looks like, and he now just has to wait for the call. And then we find out after Ben leaves Rhys with all the information, that's when Rhys is like, okay, here we go. And he starts making his list. His list right now, that we know it, contains of Josh Holder, Marcus Boykin, Sal Agon, and Steve Horn. So those are the 4 that are currently on his kill list. And then in these chapters that I'm covering, which I'm covering basically 31 through, I'm gonna stop at 35 on this video, just to keep it short. Keep it nice and short for you guys, because I know I've been talking up a storm in the other videos. So in 33, that's who we meet, is Elizabeth Riley. So Rhys and his team, his 4-man sniper team, when they were over in Iraq, saved her because her helicopter went down by a RPG round, and basically Rhys's team, super savage, he went against orders because they told him to not go in to save her, but his team was only a few clicks or miles back, and so it was just obviously the right thing to do in his mind, and he went ahead and risked his life and his team's life to go and save hers. She had broken her back too, which is insane. And they were a few blocks away, so it was like, we're doing this, we're going in and we're getting our girl, and they did. So when Rhys finally gets to her, she had broken her back, and he gets her out and places her just nice, easy, like a little baby, into the car so that she gets medically airbagged out of there and right into surgery. She finally recovers, but she obviously had to medically retire from the military, and now she's a private pilot, which is huge for Rhys at this current time, because now he's on this mission, and who knows when he needs to just pop in somewhere, and if he has somebody, a friend that owes him a little favor, he can call and she can take him there. And that's exactly who she is. And in her mind, she owed Rhys her life. She had built a lasting friendship with him and Lauren over the ensuing years. She was single and with no children of her own, had treated little Lucy like a favorite niece, so their deaths had hit her hard. So this is someone that is basically, not only did he save her life, but they became like family. And now he has her at any moment, because that's what friends do. Then we get into, and this is where it's like so funny, because in chapter 4, I feel like the author does add a lot of what he wears to James Reese's character. So, you know, when they are started talking about what Reese is wearing when he's meeting up with Katie and things of that nature, it's basically what Jack Carr really wears too, from his like Salomon shoes to what guns he's using, all of the things. He pulled up a pair of semi-clean jeans, a dark t-shirt, and his Salomon shoes. Before leaving his bedroom, he opened the drawer of his nightstand and picked up his Glock 19 hand. So it's like, that's where I think is fun about the book, because Jack Carr adds, I feel like, a lot of himself into this character. So he's meeting Katie in Chinatown to give her all the information that he just found out from Ben being able to decrypt the hard drive that he stole from Holder's office, which is huge. And so they're chatting, and it's the perfect location because everybody there is speaking Mandarin and it's super loud, so it's the perfect meeting spot. And he is taken back by Katie once again, and this is where I've mentioned it before in my videos, where the TV show is like, if it gets picked up for another season, I don't know how they could go into a romantic like love story there, because in here I see it developing, but in the actual TV show I don't really see that happening. But once again, whatever, I want to know what you guys think. So he's sitting there waiting for her. She walks in, and they start talking, and it's clearly they do have a connection. But James is like, why are you helping me? You know, because obviously this is, not only is she sticking her neck out, but it's a big deal when you're dealing with government and you can get in a lot of trouble. It's just putting your neck out on the line. So he's asking her like, why? I don't get it. I appreciate it, trust me, but I don't understand and loyalty to someone that you barely know. So Katie starts to break this down. I'm just going to read it right out of the book because it's kind of wild. In the 80s, there was a young army doctor living in Czechoslovakia. He loved his country, but he hated what the oppressive government was doing to its people. As he rode in the ranks, he saw the hypocrisy of the leaders close up and was determined to help make a change. He started giving information to the Americans, little things at first, but he ended up being one of the most important assets in the country. As a military physician, he had access to the medical records of most of the party elite and knew things about their physical and mental health that were great importance to the CIA. He gave them everything that they wanted, and he asked nothing in return. He was doing it for his country, not for himself. It went on like this for a few years, but the secret police caught on to what he was doing. He and his wife and their baby boy went into hiding, but not before getting a message to his handler at the agency. Apparently the folks back at DC were willing to let him hang, but his case officer had made him a promise that he'd get him and his family to safety or die trying if something ever went wrong. He risked his career, his life, getting the doctor and his family out of Czechoslovakia and eventually to the United States, where they grew their family and still live today. Katie paused, and here it comes. Reese, that doctor was my dad, and the case officer was your father, Thomas Reese. Actually, I just got the chills reading that, but it says chills ran through Reese's body. He had thought he was dead inside and unable to feel emotion, but he was completely overcome by the bomb that Katie had just dropped. How do you know it was my dad? I didn't even know he worked in Czechoslovakia. It must have been when he was living in Germany when I was a kid. Your father was like a god in my house growing up, Reese. All my dad ever talks about are Thomas Reese and Ronald Reagan, his two American heroes. I got curious about him later in life and did some homework. I saw your names as a survivor in his obituary, and when I heard about your team getting ambushed, I put the two and two together, and I emailed my dad, and he confirmed that you were Tom's son. They stayed in touch through the years. Your dad was so proud of his son, the SEAL, that he told my dad all about. So, small world. That's insane, and that makes more sense why this reporter all of a sudden is so invested in this stranger, even though it is technically the right thing to do for journalism, but it's so much more than that. And then obviously now it ties more of an emotional connection with Reese and now Katie. So I think that's what's amazing about it. But now after they are having a nice conversation, they have a game plan, and then they go to leave the restaurant, and boom, that's where Reese and his intense training and skill set saves his and Katie's life, because he notices Camille trying to take them out. And so Reese handles business, takes Camille out like a savage, and then tells Katie what to do, and hops in the car and gets out of there. So now we know that, and then before he does, he goes and gets the envelope that Camille had, which obviously had Reese's face and everything. So things are starting to add up, and clearly he is a wanted dead man. And then now he tells Katie, obviously, don't go home. Do you have a place to stay? And when Reese gets back home, you know, he checks to see if there's any news out there tying him to Camille, but he's now ready to start killing people that he put on the list, and that's where things start getting crazy. So he gets back home and calls Ben. He needs to get to a safe house, but he sends one more night there, puts together a target package, and right now we have 4 targets at the moment that are going down. So that's why this book is super exciting, because it just combines, I love the fact that you kind of see a little bit of a relationship kind of growing between him and Reese, even though that's why I think it's so well written, because even though he is lost his family tragically, and obviously he loved his wife with everything, it like sets the table with the fact that his dad had a connection with Katie's father, and now that brings Katie and Reese having this certain bond, instead of just kind of this random person that he's just like starting to have feelings for. So it's much deeper than that, and I think that's what's like really cool. And then plus on top of that, all the layers from you know, inside the government to politics to the, like, it's just so many moving parts that are going on that it makes you, or at least it made me want to keep reading, keep turning a page. So I hope you guys are enjoying this book, and let me know how you guys are thinking, and also if you've watched the show yet and how you think the show compares to the book. But the next couple of videos, I'll speed them up so that we finish this book and are able to move into another one. But I love you guys, and I will see you in the app. Mwah.